The Forgotten Echoes. Jackson leaned over the holographic display that flickered in front of him, his heart racing with anticipation. The map projected before him was unlike anything he had ever seen, a tangle of lines and symbols that hinted at a forgotten civilization buried deep within an uncharted sector of space. "Are you sure about this?" Tarek asked skeptically from his position across the cluttered table. His arms were crossed tightly over his chest, a habit formed from years of military discipline. This could be nothing more than a wild goose chase. Jackson shot him a look that mixed determination with excitement. "Look at these coordinates. They align with ancient records of a civilization known for its advanced technology. If we can find it." Lyra's holographic avatar flickered to life beside them, her blue light casting an ethereal glow in the dimly lit room. "The probability of finding significant artifacts is high," she chimed in, her voice smooth and reassuring. "However, we must consider potential risks associated with exploring unknown territories." Tarek sighed but nodded reluctantly. "Fine. But if we get into trouble?" "We won't," Jackson interrupted confidently. "We have you for strategy and Lyra for navigation." He pointed at the display again, excitement bubbling over as he traced a finger along the glowing lines of the map. The three of them had been working together for months now, Jackson as the fearless leader, Tarek as their strategist with a military background, and Lyra as their AI companion who processed information faster than any human could dream. "Prepare the ship," Jackson commanded as he gathered his gear, a rugged exploration suit equipped with survival tools and weapons just in case things went south. As they boarded their ship, the Voyager, Jackson felt a thrill course through him. This was what he lived for, the thrill of discovery and adventure that awaited them among the stars. Once they launched into space, Jackson settled into his captain's chair while Lyra began calculating their course based on the map's coordinates. "Estimated time to reach destination is approximately 12 hours, she informed them calmly. Tarek leaned back in his seat, arms still crossed but now showing signs of intrigue rather than skepticism. "What do you think we'll find there? Technology? Artifacts? Or just ruins?" "Whatever it is," Jackson replied confidently, "it will be worth it." Hours passed as they traveled through vast stretches of space filled with twinkling stars and swirling nebulae. The ship hummed steadily beneath them while Jackson kept an eye on their trajectory. Suddenly, Lyra's voice broke through his thoughts again. "Captain, we are approaching an anomaly in space, a gravitational distortion." Jackson's heart raced as he glanced at the readouts flashing on his console. "Can we navigate around it?" "Negative," Lyra responded quickly. "It appears to be pulling us in." "Hold on." Jackson shouted as he gripped the controls tightly, trying to steer clear but feeling the Voyager being tugged toward the anomaly like a moth drawn to a flame. The ship shuddered violently as they were pulled into darkness, alarms blared around them while Tarek shouted commands from his seat. "Stabilize! Stabilize!" he yelled as Jackson fought against the controls. With one final surge of energy from the Voyager's engines, they broke free from the anomaly's grasp and emerged into another part of space, one that looked eerily different from where they'd started. "What just happened?" Tarek asked breathlessly. Lyra's hologram flickered with static before stabilizing again. "We have entered an uncharted sector beyond known space." Jackson's eyes widened as he took in their surroundings, an expanse filled with strange celestial bodies that glowed with unnatural colors. "Look!" Tarek pointed toward a distant planet cloaked in swirling ice clouds. "That must be our destination." With renewed determination, Jackson set their course toward it while contemplating what lay ahead, a journey into the unknown filled with potential danger but also unimaginable discovery. As they descended through layers of thick clouds toward the icy surface below, anticipation mingled with anxiety within Jackson's chest. What secrets awaited them beneath that frozen exterior? Would they find remnants of an ancient civilization or face challenges that would test their resolve? With each passing moment closer to landing on this mysterious world, he felt more alive than ever before, ready to uncover whatever echoes of humanity awaited them in this forgotten realm. This sets up an exciting beginning for your story. Each part will continue building upon these themes and characters while introducing new challenges and discoveries along their journey. The Icy Labyrinth. As the Voyager touched down on the icy surface of the planet, Jackson felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The landscape stretched before them, a vast expanse of white and blue, punctuated by jagged ice formations that glistened under the distant sun. He could see the outlines of ancient structures peeking through the snow, remnants of the civilization they had come to explore. "Welcome to Glacius Prime," Lyra announced, her voice echoing in the cabin. Initial scans indicate that this area was once densely populated, but current conditions suggest it has been abandoned for centuries. Tarek adjusted his gear, his military instincts kicking in. "We need to be cautious. Abandoned places can hide dangers we can't predict." Mira, their newest team member and an expert in ancient languages, nodded in agreement. "We should start by examining those structures over there," she pointed to a cluster of ice-covered buildings. "If we can find any inscriptions or artifacts, it might give us clues about what happened here." Jackson led the way as they exited the Voyager, stepping into the frigid air that bit at their exposed skin. The cold was harsh, but the thrill of discovery kept their spirits high. They trudged through the snow, their boots crunching against the ice as they approached the first building. The structure loomed before them, its walls adorned with intricate carvings that had been preserved beneath layers of ice. Mira pulled out her scanner and began analyzing the markings. "These symbols are unlike anything I've seen before," she said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But they seem to depict scenes of daily life, families, gatherings. Or perhaps rituals," Jackson suggested, peering closer at the carvings. "This civilization may have had strong cultural practices." As they continued to explore, Tarek kept watch outside, scanning their surroundings for any signs of danger. The wind howled around them, creating an eerie atmosphere that made him uneasy. Suddenly, Myra's scanner beeped loudly. "I found something," she exclaimed, excitement lacing her voice. She moved aside a thick layer of snow to reveal a small pedestal with a glowing orb resting on top. "Careful," Tarek warned as he stepped closer. "We don't know what that is." Mira reached out hesitantly and touched the orb. Instantly, it pulsed with light, illuminating the area around them. Images flashed across its surface, scenes of vibrant life from long ago, children playing, elders sharing stories, and celebrations filled with laughter. "This is incredible." Mira gasped as she stepped back in awe. "It's like a holographic record of their history." Jackson exchanged glances with Tarek and Lyra. They were all captivated by this unexpected find. "Can you decipher any of it?" he asked Mira. "I'll try," she replied, focusing intently on the orb as it continued to display fragments of memories from the past. As she worked, Jackson felt a chill run down his spine, not from the cold but from an unsettling sensation that they were not alone. He glanced around nervously but saw nothing unusual. Suddenly, Lyra's voice cut through his thoughts again, warning. "Movement detected approximately 100 meters northwest." "What kind of movement?" Tarek asked sharply. "Unknown entities approaching at high speed," Lyra replied coolly. Jackson's heart raced as he turned toward where Lyra indicated. In the distance, shadows began to emerge from behind an ice formation, figures moving swiftly toward them. "We need to go," Tarek shouted as he grabbed Myra's arm and pulled her away from the orb. "No. Wait," Mira protested as she tried to retrieve her scanner. But Jackson knew they had no time to waste. "Lyra, can you activate the Voyager's defenses?" Jackson commanded urgently as they began retreating toward their ship. "Activating now," Lyra responded quickly. The figures drew closer, tall beings cloaked in dark furs and armor made from ice crystals glimmering in the sunlight. They moved with an eerie grace that sent shivers down Jackson's spine. As they reached the Voyager's ramp, Jackson turned back to see one of the figures step forward, a leader among them with piercing blue eyes that seemed to glow against their pale skin. "Stop," the figure called out in a commanding voice that echoed across the icy landscape. Tarek raised his weapon instinctively while Jackson held up his hands in a gesture of peace. "We mean no harm," he shouted back. "We are explorers." The leader narrowed their eyes but did not lower their weapon. "You trespass on sacred ground," they replied in a deep voice that resonated with authority. Mira stepped forward cautiously despite Tarek's warning glare. "We found something important. A relic from your past." The leader's expression shifted slightly, curiosity mingled with suspicion. "What relic?" "The orb," Mira explained quickly. "It shows your history, your people's memories." For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air as both parties regarded each other warily. Then the leader motioned for their companions to lower their weapons slightly but remained vigilant. "Show us," they commanded firmly. Jackson exchanged glances with Tarek and Mira before nodding slowly. This was a risk, they could either gain allies or make enemies depending on how this played out. Mira stepped back toward where she had left the orb behind in the snow while Jackson and Tarek kept watch on their surroundings for any signs of danger from the other figures who remained poised and ready for action. As Mira retrieved it carefully and activated its projection once more, images danced into view, vivid scenes that depicted life before abandonment filled with joy and sorrow alike. The leader watched intently as memories unfolded before them, a glimpse into a world long lost but not forgotten. "This is our past," they murmured softly as emotions flickered across their face like shadows dancing in firelight. Jackson felt hope blooming within him. Perhaps this was not just an encounter with potential adversaries but rather an opportunity for understanding, a chance to bridge gaps between worlds separated by time and circumstance. But just as he dared to believe that peace might be possible here amidst these icy ruins, a loud crack echoed through the air, the sound of ice shifting ominously beneath them. "What was that?" Tarek asked sharply as he scanned around nervously once more. Before anyone could answer, fissures began spreading across the ground beneath them like spider webs, an earthquake tremor shaking everything around them violently. "Get back!" Jackson yelled as he grabbed Myra's arm while pulling her away from where they stood just moments before. The leader shouted commands to their companions who quickly moved into action, but chaos erupted all around them as more cracks formed. In an instant, what had begun as a moment of potential connection now spiraled into uncertainty once again. This part continues building on themes of exploration and discovery while introducing new characters and challenges for Jackson and his team. The awakening shadows. As the tremor subsided, the icy ground around Jackson, Mira, Tarek, and the alien leader began to settle. The atmosphere was thick with tension. The sudden earthquake had rattled everyone, but it also revealed a deeper truth about the planet they were on. The ancient structures around them were not merely ruins, they were alive with memories and secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Are you all right?" Jackson asked Mira, who had stumbled slightly during the quake. She nodded, brushing off the snow that clung to her suit. The alien leader, still eyeing the orb with a mix of curiosity and suspicion, gestured for their companions to maintain their positions. "What you have shown us is intriguing," they said, their voice steady despite the chaos. "But we must understand more about your intentions here." "We're explorers," Jackson replied earnestly. "We came to learn about your civilization and its history. We want to understand what happened to humanity and why this place was abandoned." The leader's gaze shifted from Jackson to the orb, which still pulsed softly with light. "Many have come before you, seeking knowledge or power. Few have left unscathed." Their words hung in the air like a warning. Mira stepped forward again, her voice steady. "We're not here to exploit anything. We want to help if we can. Your people deserve to know what happened." The leader regarded her carefully before nodding slowly. Very well. But know this, our history is fraught with pain and loss. If you seek answers, you must be prepared for the truth. With that, they turned and beckoned for Jackson and his team to follow. As they walked through the snow toward a larger structure that loomed in the distance, Jackson felt a mix of anticipation and dread. What truths lay hidden within these ancient walls? Entering the heart of the ruins. The entrance of the structure was framed by towering ice formations that sparkled like diamonds in the sunlight. As they stepped inside, a rush of cold air enveloped them, but it felt different, charged with energy and echoes of past lives. The interior was vast, with walls covered in intricate carvings similar to those outside but more detailed and vibrant. Lyra's holographic interface flickered beside them as she scanned their surroundings. These carvings depict significant events in your history, Mira noted as she traced her fingers over one particularly striking image, a gathering of figures standing together beneath a great tree. They celebrate unity, the alien leader explained solemnly. But unity can lead to darkness as much as it can lead to light. Jackson felt a chill run down his spine at their words. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more beneath the surface of this civilization than mere history. There were lessons learned through hardship. As they moved deeper into the structure, they reached a grand chamber filled with relics, artifacts from a time long past that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. "This is our Hall of Memories," the leader announced, their voice echoing against the stone walls. "Each relic holds a piece of our story, a fragment of who we once were." Jackson stepped forward, drawn by a shimmering object resting on a pedestal at the center of the room. It was a crystal orb similar to the one they had found outside but larger and more ornate. "What is this?" he asked, captivated by its beauty. "The heart of our people," the leader replied reverently. "It contains our collective memories, the essence of our civilization." Mira approached cautiously, her eyes wide with wonder. "Can it show us what happened? Why did your people vanish?" The leader nodded slowly but hesitated before speaking again. "It can show you, but be warned, not all memories are pleasant. A journey through time." With a deep breath, Jackson turned to Mira and Tarek, who both nodded in agreement. They needed answers if they were going to understand what had happened on this planet, and perhaps find clues about humanity's disappearance as well. "Show us," Jackson urged gently. The alien leader stepped forward and placed their hands on the crystal orb. A soft glow enveloped them as images began to swirl within its depths, vivid scenes that transported them through time. They witnessed moments of joy, families celebrating festivals under starlit skies, children playing in fields filled with flowers that danced in gentle breezes. Laughter echoed through time as vibrant colors painted their world. But then, darkness crept into view, shadows looming over bright landscapes as storms gathered on the horizon. The laughter faded into cries of fear as chaos erupted, images flashed of conflict between factions within their society. "This is where it began," the leader said quietly as they watched scenes unfold before them, their people torn apart by greed and ambition. Jackson felt his heart sink as he realized how easily unity could fracture under pressure. He glanced at Mira and Tarek, he could see reflections of concern mirrored in their expressions. As they continued watching, an image emerged that sent chills down Jackson's spine, an enormous ship rising from their planet's surface, carrying away countless lives into unknown reaches of space. "They left," Mira whispered in disbelief. "Yes," the leader confirmed solemnly. "In search of new worlds, or perhaps escape from what we had become." Confronting reality. The visions began to grow darker still, scenes of despair filled with empty streets and abandoned homes where laughter once thrived now lay silent under layers of ice. "Is this what happened?" Tarek asked incredulously as he watched their civilization crumble through betrayal and division. "It is part of our legacy," said the leader quietly. "We lost ourselves in our pursuit for power and control." As images continued flashing before them, of battles fought against each other rather than external threats. A realization struck Jackson like lightning: humanity's own struggles mirrored those of this alien civilization. "We're not so different after all," he murmured softly. The alien leader turned to him sharply but then softened their gaze as understanding washed over them both. "Indeed. Every species has its trials, its moments where choices define destinies." Just then, another vision appeared, a group of figures standing together against an encroaching darkness that threatened everything they held dear. "This is hope," said the leader firmly as they pointed toward those figures who stood united despite overwhelming odds. Jackson felt inspired by this display. Perhaps there was still a chance for redemption, for both civilizations if they could learn from one another's pasts rather than repeat mistakes made long ago. A new path forward. As the visions faded away, leaving behind an echoing silence in the grand chamber, Jackson looked at Mira and Tarek with renewed determination. They had witnessed both beauty and tragedy, now it was time to act on what they had learned. "We need to share this knowledge," he declared passionately. "If we can unite our strengths rather than allowing fear or greed to divide us." The alien leader nodded thoughtfully but remained cautious. "It will not be easy, old wounds run deep." Mira stepped forward again, her voice steady yet hopeful, "But it's worth trying. We can help each other rebuild, not just your world but ours too." Jackson felt a surge of hope at her words. Perhaps this alliance could forge something new, something stronger than either civilization alone could achieve. As they stood together in that ancient hall filled with memories long forgotten yet still alive within them all, their hearts beat as one, a promise made beneath layers of ice that had once hidden truths now revealed. This part delves deeper into themes of unity, shared struggles, and hope for redemption while continuing to engage readers with vivid imagery and emotional depth. The heart of the storm. The echoes of the past still resonated within the grand chamber, but Jackson and his team knew they couldn't linger too long. The revelations about the alien civilization weighed heavily on their minds, and the sense of urgency grew as they realized that their own fate might be intertwined with these ancient beings. "Lyra, can you access any data from the heart of our people?" Jackson asked, turning to the AI companion who floated nearby, her holographic form shimmering with energy. "Accessing now," Lyra replied, her voice steady. "I will attempt to retrieve any relevant information regarding the current state of this civilization and any potential threats." As Lyra worked, Tarek remained vigilant at the entrance, scanning for any signs of danger. The alien leader stood beside Mira, their expression a mixture of hope and concern. "What do you seek to learn?" they asked. "The truth about what happened to your people," Jackson said firmly. "And if there are any remnants of humanity's legacy here, we need to find them." Moments later, Lyra's voice broke through the tension. "I have located a series of archives within the heart. It appears there are records detailing a catastrophic event that led to the downfall of this civilization." "Show us," Mira urged, stepping closer to the orb. The orb pulsed again, and new images began to swirl within its depths. This time, they witnessed a vibrant world filled with life, lush forests teeming with creatures and cities bustling with activity. But as they watched, dark clouds began to gather on the horizon. "This was before the conflict," the alien leader explained quietly. "We were prosperous, but we did not see the storm coming." The images shifted dramatically, scenes of chaos erupted as natural disasters struck, earthquakes shaking cities to their foundations and storms tearing through landscapes. Jackson felt his heart race as he realized how quickly prosperity could turn into despair. "Is this what caused your people to leave?" Tarek asked, his voice filled with concern. "Yes," the leader replied solemnly. "In our desperation, we sought refuge among the stars. But it was not just nature that turned against us, it was also our own actions." The orb displayed scenes of discord among their people, factions forming and fighting for control over dwindling resources as fear gripped their hearts. Jackson could see how easily unity had crumbled under pressure. We must learn from this, Mira said passionately. If we don't recognize our flaws and work together, we risk repeating history. Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside, the sound of ice cracking violently. Tarek rushed to the entrance, his instincts kicking in as he prepared for potential danger. Lyra! What's happening? Jackson shouted over his shoulder. Warning! Structural integrity compromised. An ice shift is occurring. Lyra's voice rang out urgently. Panic surged through Jackson as he turned back to the alien leader. We need to get everyone out of here. The leader nodded sharply, signaling their companions to follow them deeper into the structure. This way. We have an emergency exit that leads outside. As they navigated through twisting corridors lined with ancient artifacts, Jackson couldn't shake off the feeling that time was running out. The ground trembled beneath them as they hurried along, every step felt like a race against fate. Emerging into chaos. They burst through a heavy door into an open area that led outside, but what awaited them was far worse than they had imagined. The landscape had transformed into a chaotic scene, massive ice formations were collapsing all around them as snow and debris filled the air. Stay close. Tarek shouted as he took point, guiding them through the chaos while keeping an eye on their surroundings. Jackson felt adrenaline coursing through him. He could see figures struggling against the storm, a mix of their new allies and remnants of ancient guardians awakening from slumber due to the disturbance. What are those? Mira gasped as she pointed toward towering forms emerging from behind shattered ice structures. They are protectors, ancient sentinels designed to guard our civilization, the leader explained urgently. But they have been disturbed by this catastrophe. Jackson's heart sank as he realized that they were caught between two forces, nature's wrath and ancient guardians awakened by fear and chaos. Lyra! Can you communicate with them? Jackson shouted over the howling winds. I will attempt to establish contact, Lyra replied quickly as she projected her holographic interface toward the sentinels. The guardians paused momentarily, their glowing eyes focused on Lyra's projection. For a brief moment, silence enveloped them all, the chaos around them fading into a distant hum. But then one sentinel stepped forward, its voice deep and resonant like thunder echoing across mountains. Intruders! You disturb our slumber. We mean no harm. Jackson called out desperately, raising his hands in surrender. We seek only knowledge and understanding. The sentinel regarded him with piercing intensity before glancing at the alien leader beside him. You bring outsiders into our domain? Do you not remember your past? The leader stepped forward boldly despite the turmoil around them. We come seeking redemption, not conquest. We must unite against this storm. A call for unity. As winds howled louder and debris continued to fall around them, Jackson felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Perhaps this moment could serve as a turning point, not just for their civilizations but for all beings who had been shaped by fear and division. Listen, he shouted above the storm's roar. We've all faced challenges that threatened our existence. But together we can overcome anything. The sentinel hesitated, its glowing eyes narrowing as it considered his words. The other guardians looked on silently, waiting for a response that could shift everything in this moment of crisis. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the sentinel spoke again. If you seek unity, then prove it. What do you mean? Tarek asked cautiously. Face us in trial, it declared firmly. Show us your strength, not through violence but through collaboration. Jackson exchanged glances with Mira and Tarek. Uncertainty flickered in their eyes but was quickly replaced by determination. We accept your challenge. Jackson declared boldly, stepping forward without hesitation. Together we will show you what humanity can do when united. With that proclamation hanging in the air like a promise unbroken, a pact forged amidst chaos, they prepared themselves for whatever trials lay ahead in this heart of turmoil where shadows threatened to consume all light. This part emphasizes themes of unity in adversity while introducing new challenges for Jackson and his team against both natural disasters and ancient guardians. The legacy of humanity. As the storm raged outside, Jackson, Mira, Tarek, and the alien leader stood together in a tense standoff with the ancient guardians. The air crackled with energy and uncertainty as they prepared to face the trial that could determine their fate. "Remember," Jackson said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for a future where our two civilizations can coexist." The alien leader nodded, their expression resolute. "If we succeed in this trial, it may forge a bond that transcends our past mistakes." The sentinel stepped forward, its towering form casting a long shadow over them. "We will test your strength and unity. Only then can we decide if you are worthy of our trust." Jackson felt a surge of determination as he glanced at Mira and Tarek. They had faced countless challenges together, and this would be no different. "Let's show them what we can do," he said. The trial began with a series of physical challenges designed to test their teamwork and resilience. The first task involved navigating through an obstacle course filled with shifting ice platforms and treacherous drops. Jackson led the way, guiding Mira and Tarek as they leaped from one platform to another, their movements synchronized like a well-rehearsed dance. "Watch your footing," Tarek called out as he narrowly avoided slipping on a slick patch of ice. Jackson extended a hand to help him regain his balance. "Keep moving," Mira urged, her eyes focused ahead as she spotted the next platform. They pushed forward, their hearts racing with adrenaline as they reached the final stretch. As they approached the finish line, an unexpected challenge arose. A massive wave of snow surged toward them from behind, threatening to engulf them in its icy grasp. Without hesitation, Jackson shouted, "Form a line. We can brace against it together." They linked arms and braced themselves as the wave crashed into them. The force was immense, but they held firm against the onslaught. With teamwork and determination, they managed to withstand the storm's fury until it finally subsided. Panting heavily, they emerged from the trial victorious but exhausted. The sentinel observed them closely, its glowing eyes reflecting a mix of admiration and skepticism. "You have shown resilience," it stated. "But strength alone is not enough." The trial of intellect. The next phase of the trial tested their intellect and problem-solving abilities. The Guardians presented them with a series of complex puzzles that required collaboration to solve. Each puzzle was more challenging than the last, demanding creativity and critical thinking. Jackson took charge once again, guiding his team through each challenge. They encountered riddles that required them to decipher ancient symbols and mechanisms that needed precise coordination to unlock hidden pathways. "Let's break it down," Mira suggested as they faced an intricate puzzle involving rotating discs covered in alien script. "If we align these symbols correctly, it should reveal the next step." Tarek nodded in agreement. "I'll handle this side, you two take the other." They worked seamlessly together, each contributing their unique strengths to solve the puzzles before them. As they progressed through the trials, Jackson felt a growing sense of camaraderie among them, a bond forged through shared challenges and triumphs. It was clear that humanity's resilience was not just about physical strength, it was also about ingenuity and cooperation. Finally, after what felt like hours of intense problem-solving, they completed the last puzzle, a complex mechanism that opened a hidden door leading to a vast chamber filled with ancient relics. A glimpse into history. As they stepped into the chamber, awe washed over them at the sight before them. The walls were adorned with murals depicting scenes from the alien civilization's history, moments of triumph and tragedy captured in vibrant colors. "This is incredible," Mira breathed as she traced her fingers over one mural depicting their ancestors uniting against a common threat. The alien leader stepped forward, their expression filled with nostalgia and sorrow. "These are our memories, the legacy we have lost over time." Jackson felt a pang of empathy for their new ally, he understood all too well what it meant to lose one's heritage. "We can help you rebuild," he offered earnestly. "Together we can create a future where both our legacies are honored." The Sentinel observed silently as Jackson spoke, its gaze shifting between him and the alien leader. After what felt like an eternity of contemplation, it finally spoke again. "You have proven your strength and intellect," it declared solemnly. "But there remains one final test, a test of heart." The final test. The final trial took place in an arena surrounded by ancient stone pillars etched with symbols that glowed softly in response to their presence. The air was thick with anticipation as Jackson faced off against one of the Guardians, an imposing figure clad in shimmering armor. "This battle will not be fought with weapons," the Sentinel explained gravely. "You must confront your fears, your doubts, and emerge victorious through understanding." Jackson felt his heart race. This was unlike any challenge he had faced before. As he prepared himself mentally for what lay ahead, he remembered all he had learned during this journey, the importance of unity, resilience, and hope. The Guardian advanced toward him slowly, its movements fluid yet deliberate as it summoned shadows from within itself, dark tendrils representing Jackson's own insecurities and fears. "Face me," it commanded as shadows swirled around him, whispers echoing doubts that clawed at his mind. "You're not strong enough. You'll fail." But instead of succumbing to despair, Jackson stood tall against those shadows. He recalled every moment spent alongside Mira and Tarek, how their support had lifted him when he faltered. "I am not alone," he shouted defiantly as light began to radiate from within him, a beacon ignited by hope and solidarity. The shadows recoiled at his declaration, they twisted and writhed but could not extinguish his light. With each passing moment, Jackson felt stronger, more resolute in his belief that unity could conquer even the darkest fears. Emerging victorious. With one final surge of determination, Jackson unleashed his light against the shadows, the brilliance overwhelming them until they dissipated into nothingness. As silence enveloped the arena once more, Jackson stood victorious, his heart swelled with pride, not just for himself but for everyone who had stood by him throughout this journey. The Sentinel regarded him with newfound respect, its voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "You have faced your fears and emerged stronger than before." With those words resonating within him like a battle cry for hope, a promise made beneath layers of ice, they had forged something new together, an alliance built on understanding rather than conflict. A new dawn. As they left the arena hand in hand with their new allies, the storm outside began to calm, the winds dying down as if acknowledging this momentous occasion. Jackson turned to Mira and Tarek with gratitude shining in his eyes. "We did it. Together." Mira smiled brightly while Tarek nodded approvingly. They had faced insurmountable odds but emerged stronger than ever before, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so began a new chapter for both civilizations, a legacy reborn from ashes where humanity's strength shone brightly alongside those who once stood apart, united now by shared dreams forged through trials endured together. This concluding part emphasizes themes of unity through adversity while showcasing human resilience and ingenuity.